to another episode of 50 Shades of Over 50. I have an amazing guest. You're in for a treat. Her name is Dr. Lulu. Welcome. Yay!
Hello. Hi, everyone. Happy holidays. I was trying to channel my inner Zaza boy. So we're here in red and white festive season. Happy holidays.
Yay!
What's going on?
Yay. So Dr. Lulu, before we begin, can you just tell them a little bit about, you've done a lot of things, but just tell them a little snippet of who you are.
Okay, so my name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Momatrician, often imitated but never, ever duplicated. And over rocking it. I was born, bred, buttered, and slightly burned in Nigeria. You know, that's what we do. I'm a mother of three. I'm just living life like it's golden. It's my golden years. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it. I'm writing my scripts. I'm editing my future and just owning my destiny. So yeah, I'm here to share some of that with y'all today. Let's go.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what that's what I do on this show. I want to help women live their best life on their own terms. So through their stories, you might say, oh my goodness, that is me. And that would kind of ignite that desire that might have been kind of pushed aside. It might bring it to the surface because that's what we're all about. So Dr. Lou, you did something kind of interesting that most people don't do. It's typically unheard of. So can you tell the listeners and viewers what you did that is kind of unheard of in your profession?
I pulled the plug on medicine this year. I turned 30 as a physician, and I literally pulled the CPR plug off of medicine. I am a physician, I'm a pediatrician, been so for 30 years. And yes, it's unheard of for someone to just say, you know what? I'm going to retire while I still can before my arthritis kicks in and before I'm on a wheelchair. I just thought, you know what, I'm going to retire. I'm going to just say to myself, it is okay to retire at 52. And I did. And but let me tell you the funny thing though.
Tell me, yes.
Most people have not heard about that.
No.
However, when you buy a new car and you start driving your new car, what do you see? Every car on the road is like, oh, I didn't know there was this color Mercedes. I've seen that car. Believe it or not, since I did retire, I've met at least 5 people or maybe even 10 people who are either considering doing it, inspired by more, or have already done it.
Nice.
So it's not quite as unheard of. However, what is unheard of is most of them are women. So it's unheard of men. Most men will not do this. I had one guy who called me and said, you know what? I can't retire fully, but because of you, I'm only doing administrative work in my own practice.
Wow.
So he got to the edge when he jumped. So, you know, women rule. We rule.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Setting an example for what's possible. That's what we do on this show.
Yes.
So tell me though, so now that you have decided to pull the plug on, being a physician, what are you doing? We want to know.
Well, like everything else, there's the making of it. I mean, most people see what you see is the tip of the iceberg. Nobody sees the underneath the water of all the things.
True.
So the truth is, it took me about 3 years in the making. About 3 years ago, I met a 7-year-old kid who wanted to kill himself at 7, and that got my attention. And so that got me thinking, what else can I do? I can sit in the office and write prescriptions for 25 to 30 people a day, maybe 40 a day. But what about the other 4,000 or the 40,000 or the 400,000 people? How do I get to them? And so I started quitting 3 years ago. I first my hours, and then I started writing and speaking publicly about youth suicide. And then the more I did it, the more I liked it. And the more I did it, the more I liked it. I'm like, you know what? I used to get in trouble when I was in elementary school for talking too much. Now I'm getting paid for this. So, like once you in Igbo land, because I'm Igbo, in Igbo Gasi, onye kwere, chie kwere, which means if I say yes, the universe or my demigod or God will say yes. So basically, when I accept my destiny, it becomes true. I become who I say I am. So once I said, you know what, I want to do this, Doors started flying open. Like before I get to the door,
Yes.
it opens. I'm like, wait, what? And then the more I did that, the more I realized that I needed more time to do it. You know,
Yes.
you your closets, you clean it up so you can get new clothes, right? So
Good
once again,
point.
that I realized that one of them is gotta go.
Yeah.
Which is it gonna be? Is it medicine? And then the more I thought about it, I realized that wait, I'm coming up on my 30th birthday as a doctor. Why don't I do that on my 30th anniversary? So believe it or not, on the 5th of July, 2021, which is exactly 30 days to the day I took my oath, I said, you know what, I'm gonna do a stethoscope hanging ceremony. And that's what I did. And once you lean in, it gets easier. Of course, I had the panic attack that Monday morning. And
That was my question. I wanted to know about that. Like, what happened? Because
I
I'm
called
like,
you that morning. I don't know if you remember. I called you
I
that morning.
remember.
I was in fetal position. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then you said to me, well, you know what? If your brain didn't do that, your brain is not normal. It's
That's
normal for
true.
you to freak out and panic and what's going on. And I think you told me, or maybe you, John, one of you said, I called both of you that morning. And then one of you said, just breathe and just start breathing and just breathe through it and just know that this is a normal thing
Process.
to do because your brain is used to doing one thing for 30 years.
That's it. That's
So
it. And so for those listening, you might have a goal or desire that you want to go after, and you're like, oh my goodness, you're feeling that scared. I like to call it scare-sighted, which is scared and excited at the same time. When you feel that emotion, it almost overwhelms you and it makes you question whether what you're doing is a good idea. Now, being, having those fears is okay. But don't let those fears stop you from going after your goal. It doesn't mean that you need to stop. It just means that you're on the right path. And it also means that your brain is now being pushed into an area that is not comfortable with. And so it's protecting you. And that's the way it protects you because it fills you with all that emotion. And then all of a sudden you just kind of withdraw. No, no. Listen, ladies, that is not the answer. We need that special gift that you have that you're trying to put out into the world. So don't let fear push you back. No, we need you to move forward because we need you. We need to change the world. I really believe that women 50 and over are going to change the world. So we need your gift out there.
and we can only do that one person at a time. And I love what you said.
Yes.
I love the word scarcity. I never heard that before. I'm stealing that as well.
Go
But
ahead,
yeah,
girl.
I love that you said your brain tells you that, and then you freak out, and then you think yourself out of it. And so, what I tell people to do is just look around your house. You don't have to go too far away. Look around your room. Every single thing you see was somebody's idea. Everything you
Girl.
saw,
Thank you.
somebody's idea, and they did not think themselves out of it.
Listen, I love what you're saying. This is one thing I always talk about. This phone right here, this iPhone, guess how it started off? With a thought.
But
That
that's
was
not,
it.
yes,
Just it. That's
yes,
it. There was
yes.
no, listen, there was no extra thought that Steve Jobs had that someone else, no. It was just a thought in his brain and he acted on it, regardless of the fear. Come on, we know he had those fears. He had people that were doubting and people were like, what are you talking about? What? This? But he still went ahead and did it. We all have those thoughts daily. Are you acting on it? Are you acting on it?
And
You
I
know?
think my own case is that much more scary because of the particular niche of
Of
who
course.
it's like every single morning, ma'am, what are you doing? You could really just get a job as a pediatrician and just
Okay, can I just add too? And I just want to add, and you can get a job paying well. Do you know what I mean? It's
and
not like you can get a job paying well, and you're deciding like, I'm gonna go on this other side.
thank you for bringing that up because it's the holidays and the kids are like, okay, so mom, what's gonna happen? What are we doing for the holidays? And I yesterday we had a little family meeting. I said, okay, so here are the things I want us to do. Service, service, service. So I said,
Love it.
are we going? I said, no, we're going to the food bank, then we're going to the soup kitchen. Then I said, well, we're going to do a photo shoot because we haven't been together in over a year.
Oh,
Other than that, it was service, 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 4 different places we're going to be volunteering our time. And they're like,
yes.
mom, I'm like, yes. Because my mind is telling me, you can just get that locum job. It's like $200 an hour.
Yeah,
Are you
easily.
over here getting $0 an hour? Are you kidding me? But each morning I let the thought come in. That's the thing. I don't pretend the thought is not there. I actually welcome the thought.
Yes,
And I
yes.
I say, you know what? Are you really helping me right now to get to where I want to go?
That is it. That is so true. It's like those thoughts will come up. And I always tell my clients all the time, is that of benefit to you? You get to decide. If you feel that, you get to decide because you want to be empowered. You want to feel empowered. And so that thought can either empower you or disempower you, but you get to choose.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get to choose.
So it's a constant struggle. I love that you mentioned today, because whether it's Steve Jobs or your mom starting a business or your child having an idea or someone taking an exam, something new, all of those, your brain will be like, wait, what are you doing? You mean you want to grow? Don't grow.
I know, right?
That's called growing pains. And I love the concept of a butterfly. Ironically, my blog is called Words by Black Butterfly. I love the concept of a butterfly who once upon a time was crawling on its belly and was in this little space, tiny enclosed space, but the entire time stayed focused on one day.
Yes.
One day I'm gonna get my wings and I'll
One thing.
and nobody can. So if nothing else, I want people to just think about a butterfly.
Yes.
You step at it, you kick it, you step on it. But imagine the life cycle. If that butterfly gave up a caterpillar or gave up as a pupa, which is what we call it, or chrysalis in America, if it gave up on any of its stages, you won't get to see the beautiful wings.
Yeah.
Most importantly, butterflies are so unique because as they go from one petal to the other, they pollinate flowers. And so I love the concept of a butterfly for me, because as I meet people, I educate them and I get them to think, oh, wow, really? I didn't know.
Yes.
Oh.
That's it. That's it. I love it. Love it. Getting people to think differently. I think that's the work that we're doing that I think is so needed in the world, because you can ask one person, just ask a question, and that can change their whole life. Seriously, because they have never even entertained that thought. And now they begin to think, wow. And listen, we live in a society that is youth obsessed. And so for women 50 and over, nobody's giving you anything. Listen, if they give you anything, it's probably crumbs. So we need to stand up and claim it for ourselves, because I say this all the time, nobody, and I mean nobody, is coming to save you, for real.
And then let me take it to the next level. Here's what I do. Nobody's gonna give it. Here's what I do. I take my table and my chair. I kick down the door and I burst the ceilings. And if I get there's a table, great. I'm pulling up my chair. We must be about that mindset of,
oh yeah,
affordable table in your car and your foldable chair in your car.
Oh so yeah.
You look around. Oh, that's okay. I got my chair. Because
Oh yeah.
To the next level, just as a Black 50 and over African woman, you are doing things that Dora Milaje and Amazons have done, Nefertiti. I mean, Queen of Sheba, you name it. These are people that said, you know what, I'm going to own my shit. And that's it. Fearlessly, and we come from that line of Amazon.
Yes.
Yeah. Now says, and the kids coming after us, the younger ones, we must remind them like we are going. And when I get here, I can go this far, but I'm going to give you the baton. Now go, go and push the frontiers.
Yeah. And one of the things I do love about women that we do is when we rise up, we bring other women with us. I mean, because I know sometimes we kind of fall into that state where we're thinking, you kind of want to do. And then sometimes you get so tired. And then sometimes you want to stand up for yourself and people are like, that's selfish. No. Women historically are not selfish. We are selfless by design. Seriously, we are. And so when we rise up, we are bringing other women with us. We don't just kind of stand in isolation, like it's just me. We don't do that. And so that's why when women start to kind of shrink back when they hit their 50s, now I'm telling them, no, this is not the time to shrink back in the shadows. This is the time to rise up. And so in that, I want to ask you, Dr. Lulu, so what are you doing now that you have drop the, kind of pull the plug on the being a pediatrician? What can we see? What's going on with you? We want to know.
Yeah, I like to say I retired from active duty medicine and now I'm a reserve doctor. But
Yeah.
the truth is, I am now speaking. I speak on youth suicide prevention is my big platform. But the way the corner that I'm attacking it from is in the LGBTQ plus space, the sexual minorities, those who, I don't care where you go, they're still all the orphans. That's who they are.
Yeah.
They're misunderstood, they're rejected, they're stigmatized, they have no health care. Those ones. Those.
Yeah.
So I speak on suicide prevention, especially in the LGBTQ plus community, particularly in the LGBTQ plus child. And if you want to
Mm.
come into that child, I'll still go further into the transgender children.
Okay.
They're the ones that
Yeah.
really, truly, they have no one speaking for them.
Yeah. No support whatsoever.
So much transphobia from big influencers. And so we have to do our part from as little people to start from the ground zero. I mean, anybody can be a famous person, Madonna, I don't know, Lady Gaga, those are big people, but ultimately the child resonates more with their mother, who is
Mm.
not Lady Gaga, who is not Oprah, but that's
Mhm.
who they see more. That's who influences their lives more. So I work with parents of LGBTQ plus kids. I actually, believe it or not, support them
Mhm.
as they go through their own journey of self-acceptance, because you
Mm.
have to come out as a parent of an LGBT
Mm.
closet that you have to come out from and own that space of being a parent. Whether it's, I mean, just think about it. If you're a parent of a child who is blind, a child who is deaf, a child who has autism, a child who has seizures, whatever that is, you have to come out as that parent, as their ally. So I'm helping empower parents of LGBTQ plus kids to come out as allies for their children,
Mm.
because they are the most important and most influential people in the kids' lives. So that's what I do. I help them, I support them and along their own journey of self-acceptance so that they can that much better support their kids. Because if they can't, because it knocks the wind off of you. I'm just gonna,
Yeah.
it's very scary, it's very painful. There's a lot of questions you're asking, there's a lot of anxiety, tightness in your chest. When your child says those words, mom, I'm trans, or mom, I'm gay, or mom, I'm a lesbian, whatever, even if you suspect it,
Mm.
when the reality finally hits you, it
Yeah.
knocks the wind out of you. So my job is to tell you that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to
Mm.
fully get it. It's okay to not fully understand it. It's okay to
Yes.
be asking questions. And while
Mm.
it's a journey towards self-acceptance, unfortunately, as the parent, you don't get the luxury to take all the time.
Mm.
That's the only piece, because your child most likely has been having a hard time coming to terms with it themselves.
Before then, yeah.
Way before then. That's why kids
Yeah.
anywhere from 5 years to 15 years, they're still thinking,
Wow.
should I not do it? Should I not do it? I mean, very, very recently,
Yeah.
very, very close to me came out as trans. This is like, what? Very, very recently, I'm like, oh my God, that's a huge burden.
Yeah.
What you do is how do you eat a big sandwich? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
I love what you said about, it's a burden, because I remember reading a story just recently, maybe a few months ago, about a lady that came out. And guess how old she was? 60 years old. I can't even imagine the burden she came out to her kids, the burden she's been carrying for 60 years.
Hmm.
60
I'll
years.
tell you, I don't know that woman, but I know that I came out at 42.
Mhm.
That's not young. That's not young
Yeah.
at all. And
No,
the
no.
thing about it, and when I say burden, I also want people to know that I'm going to qualify the burden. It is a
Mm.
burden, but like every other thing, if you say to yourself, this burden is light,
Mm. Yes.
changes the perspective. It
Correct.
is a burden nonetheless, But it's like when I was coming in, I was going to open the door, right? And then you said no. And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to channel ice cold weather. And
Yeah.
that's what I did. So now
And
when
let's kind of go into why you wanted to open the door, because this is an issue we all face.
and so I'm over 50, I'm 52, I'll be 53 in a few short weeks. And I'm in a little soundproof Zoom room in my office. And I was like, I'm gonna get a hot flash. I hadn't even had the hot flash. It was coming. Let me open the door. But then it was going to affect the quality of the sound.
Sound.
So let me close the door, but let me channel cold weather. And so
Yes.
I'm still in the space. If I start thinking, oh, I'm going to get hot, I'm going to get hot. Your brain is
Yes.
so smart and so powerful. The subconscious mind
Mm.
is so powerful that it will literally manifest what you use your mouth to create.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to channel cold weather, and guess what? I'm not thinking about that anymore. And
Nope. Nope.
so while it is a burden, it is difficult. How do you do that? I mean, if you've been given a diagnosis that you have cancer, you don't say, oh, I'm going to die. You say, you know what? It's cancer. Doctor, tell me more about it. What can we do about it? How can I beat this cancer? You don't go in defeated into the fight. You're going to lose. You go in on your big girl shoes. You take your time and cry, mourn, do what you got to do. And then, you know what? Time for action.
That's right.
Time for action.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. So I like how you gave yourself as an example, and this other lady I heard about. And so what do you actually do with the parents? So do you work with the kids, or you just work with the parents?
So I'm a pediatrician first. I'm always going to be a pediatrician. So naturally, I also work with kids.
Okay.
I prefer to work with parents. Is a preference.
Okay.
Because I do know the power that a parent's accepting their child. I know the power that has on making the child's life that much easier. Not because your child is more important than you, but because you are more important to your child than your child.
Anyone. Right. Yeah.
That then your child will do anything to not disappoint you, including remaining in the closet indefinitely. Kids don't ever want to disappoint their parents. So when a child comes out to your parents, I want the parents to recognize two things have happened. Number one, you have made it safe. You have created space in your
Yes.
house, and of course in your home. So your child say, you know what, I'm going to venture there. But the second thing that has happened is now you have the power to respond.
True. Yes.
The way you respond can make it or break it.
Yes, I agree.
Say, you know what, my child, thank you so much for telling me this. I appreciate it. But it's new to me. I'm confused a little bit. May I have time to process it? Your child is going to be like, yes, of course. Because I mean, it's expected versus, you know what do you mean by that? How did you come about that? Well, I don't want to hear that. That's an abomination. All of that is why the suicide rate is so high. So now you see why a big platform is suicide prevention. But in the last 12 months, 42% of these kids, 42% have seriously considered suicide.
42%. That's high.
High. 4 out of 10 kids. And you know what? That is, once they attempt, then they now go up to 80% chance of doing the next time they attempt. So it's very dangerous. It's ultimately the question is, I know what the world says about that. I know what your brain is saying about that. But I like to come back with God doesn't make mistakes, right? And so infinite knowledge. If God created this child in their likeness, and God is love, then the child is love.
Yeah.
And your child is God. And so I need you to see that God has created little himlets, is what I call them, little minions of him. And he's asking you to do his work. And the most important commandment was to love, because he is love. And so it's not for you to do anything else but just open your arms as wide as you can, child, and then figure it out.
Yeah.
and then figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. And I love the premise of love. That's one of the foundations of all the things I do with my clients. Like that self-love and just using love as a vehicle. Oh my goodness. When you come out in love, when you say things in love, when you use love as a foundation, even if you are like really hot and bothered and angry, it can soothe you in the ways that you can't even imagine. It's just like, oh, it deflates it. It just makes it so easy to communicate with one another.
I
So
love
important.
deflate. I love deflate. I'm going to steal that. Deflate. What it
Mm.
does is it smooths the rough edges.
Yes.
It's still there. The
Yeah.
situation is still there, but just because they say, if you change the way you look at things, the things
Mm,
you see change.
right.
And it's like, oh my goodness, my child is gay, or hmm, my child is gay, and just breathe through it.
Hmm.
Just breathe through it. And then the question is, what does my child need from me?
Yes. How
And
can
the,
you support your
yeah,
child?
and the truth is, most kids will say, Mom, I just wanted to tell you.
Oh,
I just wanted you to know
to know. Yeah.
what's for dinner, because they truly are not like, okay, go and paint everything rainbow. No. Most
Yeah.
personal journey for them is a very
Yeah.
thing. Most people don't even want to tell anybody. They just want to tell you as the parent and then move
Yeah.
on. And
Yeah.
the most important question is, how would you like me to support you in this?
Mm, mm,
How would you like me, or what would you like me to do to make it easy
yeah.
for you? And when you say that, your child will look at you with the love of life.
Yeah.
And it's just like, just weakens everything. It's like, oh my God, Mom, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Not because it's going to be easy. And I say that because even Jesus, when he was going to Golgotha, he saw he saw death, certain death at the end of the journey.
Mm,
So even he said, Father, if it's your will, take this cup.
yeah.
Because I know it's going to be difficult, but not my will, but
Mm,
your will be done. And
yeah.
yet, fall multiple times, just ask for grace. Even Jesus fell 3 times. And at
Mm,
one point, he was like, guys, I can't. And then what did they do? They got him someone to help him carry.
yes.
That's where I
Yeah.
come from. We
Yeah.
you have to first recognize that you're falling and then reach out. I'm good, but I'm not that good to see you and know magically what you're going through.
Yeah. You have to be ready. You have to come. They have to come to you. That's great. And so I know you did say that when you started the platform for youth suicide prevention, it was because of what happened in your practice. Now, deciding to focus on the LGBTQ plus community, was there a reason for that, or you just felt because you noticed that that was an area that needed the help, you decided to focus on that?
I think it's a combination of multiple things. First of all, yes, they do have in the in youth period,
Yes.
all youth of the world, the LGBTQ plus kids do have the highest rate of suicide across the border. Black LGBTQ plus kids have a higher rate of suicide than the non-Black LGBTQ plus kids. So that's
Mm,
down into who I am. And then I have a child who is
mm,
also in the LGBTQ plus community. I'm not doing this because of myself, because I knew and I came out to my dad the first time when I was 16. But I
mm,
didn't come out fully until I was 42, because at one point you say, you
mm,
know what? It's not about me. And that's the
mm.
truth. It's never about us as the parents. It's always
Yeah.
about our kids. And it's the same thing you would do if your child was drowning. You would learn how to swim, or at least you would die trying. You would not say, oh,
Mm,
my child is drowning. I don't know how to swim, so I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to turn my back. You won't. No parent wants to do that. So for
mm,
me, my fight kind of came to a head when I realized, wait, I want to help with suicide. So who are the people that are at risk? Oh, the LGBT kids, especially the transgender kids. Great. And let me look further. Oh, the Black transgender kids. And then wait, my child also is. So it was a natural progression.
mm,
For me, I was like, if ever God said, this is what I want you to do, is this.
mhm.
But yeah, and then the good thing, as a physician and as a pediatrician, I have worked with these people before in a different capacity. So is that much more credibility for me when I'm,
Yes, for sure.
by the way, I'm a pediatrician.
Yes.
Listen, people listen.
Yo, yeah, for sure.
I'm happy
Yeah.
that all for me it's all kind of working out for a good reason. No, the money is not there yet. But I think when you're doing service, when you're in service, you just keep working in service.
Yeah. And the thing is, you're planting the seeds right now. You are planting the seeds. So it's going to germinate. It is because you're planting those seeds. So before we go, I want you to tell people how they can find you.
Oh, thank you so much. Great question. So I have a Facebook group called Positively Accepting. It used to be Positively Parenting, but we changed it this past week to Positively Accepting Your LGBT plus child or children. And you see me and my kiddo there.
Yes.
So that's for the free. And then I have a program which are two levels. One is a group coaching program, and then one is a one-on-one program. But I'm also on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on TikTok. My website is dr for Dr. Lulu, Lulu.com. So you can go there and download my free PDF that tells you 10 things you should know, that talks about the age and the stages and what's all these other things. What do they mean? 10 different things that you can learn about to help you parent your child. And then you can also get on my email list to get my newsletters. That what they call, yeah, my
Yeah. Yeah.
information about this is and that's. I may not be as rogue as I want to be in my newsletter, but 2022, we're going to do better. We're going to do better with the newsletter. But
Nice.
yeah. So you have many ways to reach me. Otherwise,
Yes.
just call my number, 802-768-1180. That will ring on my cell phone. Literally, that's my cell phone number.
Nice. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to put all this in the show notes. So for those that didn't have a pen to quickly write down all the stuff she was talking about, I'm going to put her information in the show notes. And so you will be able to contact Dr. Lulu in whichever of the ways listed. All right. Thank you so much. And for those listening, this was another episode of 50 Shades of Over 50. And if you want to know more about this kind of work that I'm doing with women 50 and over, look at the show notes. You might want to join us in Flourish, which is an online community for women 50 and over, or maybe you want to work with me one-on-one, or you just want to follow me on social media to get some of the information that I share daily. All right. Dr. Lulu, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for those listening, thank you for taking time to listen to this, because you could have been doing anything else today, but you decided to listen to us. So thank you. Take care. Bye.
I'll see you on the internet. Bye.
Bye.